And we'll start the program now. The first session will be interaction with youth. Professor Swaminathan has kindly consented to interact with students across the nation. I would say people have come from different states, from Maharashtra, from Odisha, from Tamil Nadu, from Karnataka. There are about from 23 colleges and research institutions, students, teachers, scholars, and also young entrepreneurs. They have come. And here we have Dr. Anil Kumar, the Executive Director, and Dr. Raman, the Coordinator of Youth Program of M.S.Swaminathan Research Foundation, and Bian from Hungary Lab, and Dr. Jegan, who facilitated this interaction with the students program. So may I call upon Dr. Anil Kumar now to make a brief introduction of this session.
So the purpose of this session, see, if you look at the uniqueness of India, our demographic dividend, see, we have a large youth population. And this dividend is going to be here for another 30 or 50 years. So India is the only country has that much strength. So how do we harness that strength for the future of agriculture of India? If you look at the agriculture is again the unique sector which can take a major role in addressing the carbon emission. If you look at the carbon emission rate, about 24% of the emission directly and indirectly, directly by 14-15%, indirectly by another 10% comes from agriculture. So how do we make the technologies? Technologies are available now, and the young generation have the energy and intelligence to use the technology and the knowledge. So here, India again is very competent with the ICT technologies. America has used Indian brains very well, but I don't think India has used properly our Indian youth. So this, we have selected few students, I think 40, no selection. We invited you, and the doyen of agriculture, I would say, the sustainable agriculture, not simply agriculture, sustainability. So this is where we want you to engage in agriculture, because agriculture should be, professor used to say, agriculture should be intellectually and economically rewarding. So otherwise, nobody will get attracted. So here, how do we make the agriculture sector intellectually and economically rewarding? So your questions, I had gone through the questions, very meaningful questions. So many questions were there. So we shortlisted a few questions, and Dr. Madhav, no, you will be explaining that. So I stop here, and I also request some of our seniors like Kun and the PPFR Director Prabhu. Many scientists are here. So during the interval time, you can have interaction with them. So we will allow you to have a kind of informal interaction and be in the agriculture field and save this planet. I would say agriculture and agricultural team can contribute much to save this planet. Thank you so much.
So when you look at the questions, the students and scholars, they represented from wide spectrum of discipline. From agriculture, from plant sciences, from biotechnology, from nutrition, media sciences, and also economics and other social sciences discipline, people have sent their questions. There are about 60-70 questions we have got it in a span of 3-4 days time. Very innovative and kind of questions that we have received. Of that, we have, Professor has kindly consented to deliver within a short span of 1 hour, maybe around 15 questions. I request Dr. Jegan to read out those questions, and I'm requesting Professor to respond to that. Dr. Jegan, please come over.
Thank you, sir. So, very good morning to all. So, actually, we have received 70 questions. So, we selected one question for each candidate. So, everyone has to be answered. What is your take on zero budget natural farming as an alternative to the green revolution methods? The question from Abhinav Chakraborty, Asian College of Journalism.
So, it's a very good question, and Abhinav, thank you for asking it. What we mean in research in agriculture is improvement of productivity on the one hand, so that the marketable surplus will become higher, and the quality of the produce. Zero budget means there is not much expenditure, almost zero, but the plant inputs are needed for output. You need inputs for output. The two major inputs in the Green Revolution days was one of irrigation, the other is fertilizer application. Can you give enough moisture to the crop without pumping out groundwater? Can you give enough nutrients through organic methods, through animals and so on? This is the question. If you are able to provide, for example, the rice crop requires about 20 to 25 kilograms of nitrogen to produce 1 ton of rice. Now, that's why I said there is no free meal, there is no inputs are needed for output. Will you be able to give that amount of nutrients by organic methods? If you are able to, I have seen organic farms with a very large number of animals. For example, not far from here in Pondicherry, the Aurobindo Ashram is in a farm where 200 to 300 cows are there. They provide the urine, the dung and so on, which provide the nutrients required for the crop. So the simple answer to your question is, how do you do zero budget? Zero budget can be done provided you are able to find the method of providing water, providing nutrients, and controlling the pests. The three triumvirate you will have to do. So it's not easy for everybody. Probably well-to-do people can take up zero budget, those who have large number of cows and buffaloes. But for ordinary, small and marginal farmer with 1 or 2 cows, 1 or 2 buffaloes, it's very difficult to do that. The Green Revolution was essentially based upon change in plant architecture. The architecture of the plant was changed in such a way it can absorb more sunlight and more nutrients. And because I said earlier, from 1 ton of wheat per hectare to 5 tons of wheat per hectare, you require, the plant should get some nutrient. So I hope the point is clear. You can have a zero budget, but it requires its own supporting services.
So, the second question is from Abhishar, SRM Institute. So, the question is, what challenge were you setting out the address when you started the research on climate change?
Climate change at that time was just started to be discussed. The main question was about utilization of sun, in the case of climate change, reduce precipitation, less water, more drought, and also along the sea level rise as a result of global warming. What challenge were you setting out? The challenge was how to make the plant yield more, but yield more in perpetuity, not 1 year high yield, another year low yield. That means resistance to pests and diseases, enough nutrition to be given, and irrigation water to be given. If you assure all that, then you can deal with problems. What challenge were you setting out to address when you started research on climate change? Climate change, we were concerned, for example, this foundation is a good example. 30 years ago when we started climate change, we were concerned with sea level rise, because Tamil Nadu is a long coastline and already we know during, secondly, more frequent occurrence of tsunami or various kinds of storms and so on, how do you manage? Thirdly, there will be temperature changes. Precipitation and temperature are affected. Temperature, if it becomes higher, then if it is a northern latitude, you will benefit from a higher temperature. If I am in Canada or if I am in Siberia, I will benefit. But no, higher temperature means more perspiration, and it will reduce the yield. So all that you have to do is to develop crop varieties which are less in duration, and where mixed cropping is possible, to compensate for loss in yield in one crop, you have another crop also side by side. There are methods of managing the problem, and I would request you to go through the papers which are circulated here, which indicate how we can manage climate change up to a point. Not you can't change everything, but climate change can be, particularly in terms of precipitation, in terms of temperature, in terms of sea level. Sea level farming, we have a very large program here, which you might have known. But anticipated research is what is important. Not after a problem has cropped up. You anticipate these are the consequences of climate change, and then you prepare for it. You provide an antidote for it. This is the duty of the scientists to promote more anticipated research.
Next.
So the next question is from Akshit Chawla, Asian College. How can farming become an economically rewarding field? Can you give examples of successful models?
Farming is an enterprise. No enterprise will survive if it is not viable and if it cannot yield income. Farmers today in India, more than 60% are still farming, largely because they get their food for their home and something for the market. So marketable surplus is very important for getting economically viable. One method is the Green Revolution method of higher productivity. In fact, I recall in Punjab, 2 or 3 years after the Green Revolution started, if you go to the villages and ask them how much more income did you get, they will give a figure. How are you going to use it? We are going to improve our house. They have built a house, all the old houses is renovated, and also housing for the animals which they have. So each one had a priority. But it was very interesting to see that all of them had more income, largely because public procurement was good and public support price was good. The government had announced in the parliament, we will give so much per quintal of wheat, which was about 10 to 15 rupees more than what was prevailing at that time. That was a big incentive to the farmers. So the other point by which you can increase the income of farming is to produce value-added products from every part of the rice plant. Every part of the plant, the stem, the straw, you can make rice straw mushroom, you can make rice straw paper and so on. So the whole area post-harvest technology and post-harvest processing and value addition, these are important. Then you have more income from farming. This is why farming requires younger people who are educated, who are motivated to do some research.
Question is from Amita Saram. Are the possibilities for GMO foods such as a BT brinjal being harmful for the consumption?
At the moment, GMO foods in our country, the only one is cotton. But cotton is not eaten by the people, but cotton seed cake is eaten by animals. That is the problem. Before release, usually in every country there is a regulatory authority which release. Here also we have one in the Ministry of Environment which decides. They are required to look into all the issues. In this case, genetic modification, we have to go case by case. Brinjal is mentioned. Brinjal is very important because you eat almost night and day, people eat brinjal, bharta and so on, various dishes are made. Therefore, it is not like cotton. You will have to go into question of not only the effect, immediate effect, but the long-term effect of consumption of BT brinjal. BT brinjal was taken up in Bangladesh, but because the other problem in all these BT or normal Mendelian breeding, normal breeding is disease resistance breaks down, largely because the pathogen also mutates, it provides a more virulent strain, and therefore it breaks down. This is true of Mendelian genetics or molecular genetics. It's not one of molecular, because I have seen some people saying that molecular genetics has increased the percentage. It can happen both ways. And I do not know yet, only recently there is more serious concern about evaluation of food security from a longer term, not only short term. For example, some of these like brinjals, it is not enough one meal if I evaluate. It takes a long time. And our country doesn't have as yet a proper parliament approved authority for evaluation. Many other countries have, but one parliamentary committee has recommended that we should adopt the Norwegian model of regulation through legislation. You can look at your own website on the Norwegian model, what it is about. So there is no immediate data to show BT brinjal or any other BT has been harmful, although there are reports of cancer patients from Punjab and so on which comes. But that has to be studied in much greater detail. Is it due to the GM or is it due to the changes in the environment which is taking place? In Punjab, for example, a lot of it has become irrigated crops and so on. Salinity, alkalinity have also grown.
Manu, Ethiraj College. Are we losing all our traditional crop varieties due to the modern agricultural practices?
I would say in India, we are not losing just now because of the fact that over 30, 40 years ago, thanks to scientists like Dr. Harbhajan Singh and Dr. B.P. Paul, steps were taken to collect material and store them. The gene bank in Delhi, the ICR gene bank is one of the largest in the world. Several million seeds can be stored. You can also have in situ farms, gene banks. We have a small gene bank here for modified, not genetically modified, but for nutrition-rich varieties. So the main point is losing out, I won't say, because in the evolution, agriculture started about 10,000 or 12,000 years ago. At that time onwards, there has been, you find an increase in the number of varieties, very large number of. Rice, for example, there is about, we estimate, there are 150,000 varieties, 150,000, of which nearly over 1 lakh is in the gene bank of E.D.I, International Rice Research Institute. And the other in Svalbard, is the island of Svalbard, where you have the large long-term storage structure under permafrost conditions. Svalbard's example is it's under permafrost condition, therefore no electricity charges. It's a frost which is used and so on. So it's possible we may lose, but we have to take steps. When you replace a variety with another one, you should keep some seeds of the previous one. For example, when tsunami took place here, we collected a lot of seeds from along the coast, wherever tsunami had hit, where the rice plant had survived the waterlogging. Those which survived the waterlogging, keep the seeds of them carefully. So conservation will have to go on if you want to change the varieties. you should keep some seeds of the old varieties with you.
Next question is from Archita, Bharati Vidyavada. So the question is, can you define sustainability in 10 words?
Very difficult question. Want to understand sustainability, which is a complex issue, because we have now entered the sustainability decade. Last decade was UN Millennium Development Decade. Now we have Sustainable Development Decade, and we have entered the Anthropocene era. Anthropocene era where human beings control most of the things. Sustainability has 3 dimensions. One is the ecological dimension, that's how normally. The other is the economic dimension. If you are running a company, you will look at your budget. If you are running at loss, you will have to close the company. So ecological circumstances, economic circumstances, and social circumstances with the gender dimension built in. I don't know the 10 sentences, ecological sustainability, 10, I think it's a little more than 10 words. The 3 kinds of sustainability, ecological, economic, and social sustainability. So there are 6 words there. And anyway, it can be done, so long as you convey the meaning what can be done.
So the next question from Malika. Based on gene revolution, what will be the benefits for the farmer? Will biotechnology play a vital role?
Farmers' main concern is they grow crops for their own consumption and they grow crops for the market. The market gives them money for buying other things. I have to send a child to the school, I have to buy clothes and so on. So you require non-farm income is important. That has to come from farm by selling the produce. So the gene revolution means revolution in productivity. Revolution in productivity is very beneficial to farmers. Without it's very difficult. Biotechnology can play a role. Biotechnology is like any other technology. You see, 1865, the Mendel's laws of inheritance were announced. From that time onwards, you find decade by decade, or once or 2 decades, new technologies are coming. There is mutation breeding, there is colchicine, chromosome doubling, aneuploidy, and so on. Very many methods by which scientists want to ensure that they are able to achieve what they want, namely higher productivity and higher profitability. Productivity and profitability without damage to the ecosystem. This is why we have a center here called eco-technology. Ecology there, not only in terms of environmental, but also social and beneficial changes which can take place. So I think this is a good question. Will biotechnology play a role? Biotechnology again is a technology. It depends upon what. For example, if you go upstairs here, you will find mangrove genes. Mangrove genes have been transferred to rice. Because when we started our work 30 years ago, we wanted varieties which are very highly tolerant to seawater. Because these seawater farming we started, you want varieties with seawater. And that was possible only by transferring genes from mangroves to rice. The variety Ponni, those who come from Tamil Nadu know about Ponni. Now we have Ponni varieties which are salt tolerant, but the gene has come from Avicennia marina, particularly a mangrove species.
So has a youth acquired the concept of sustainability from their previous generation? Are they really ready to drive it forward?
Modern youth are very concerned about environment. That's what I would say. They have a sense that we should not live beyond what nature provides. And therefore, I hope the new generation of young people and also the universities and schools should start. I had say, when one report I suggested that in every village the schoolmaster should take the children round the village by walk and see this in eroded land, how did this happen, how do you manage it, how do you put it back, and so on. So education, scientific education or ecological education, ecological literacy is a must. Not only for agriculturists, but every one of us must have. When we built this, the first direction I gave to the architect was the building should harvest sun and rain. I was a little confused. Nobody has given me this kind of sunlight must be taken as far as possible. Although we have no close, we must work on sunlight, and we should also have enough rainwater harvesting. You will see the rain. Dr. Parasuraman can show you the rainwater harvesting method, because Chennai is very short of water, and it is important. So I think youth are the genuine majority. Indira Gandhi used to say, the youth and the poor are the two genuine majorities in the country. They are the two genuine majorities. Therefore, youth will have to play a part in shaping the future. The future is in their hands, and they should ensure that whatever we do is environmentally sustainable.
So the next question is from Reshma. To overcome malnutrition, can we implement nutrition sensitivity agriculture by creating more awareness on SAPs?
It is possible today. I think yesterday I said I'm a little more optimistic about malnutrition, because the agricultural pathway is now being realized. Agriculture, health and nutrition, they have to form a combination. We can produce varieties of plants which are very rich in vitamin A, vitamin B12, or protein-rich crops. In fact, Canada gives some higher premium to those wheat varieties which are higher protein content. So whether it is protein content or whether it is a large number of micronutrients, it is possible today through modern genetics we can promote nutrition sensitivity agriculture. Nutrition sensitivity is important not only for agriculture, because a lot of nutritional problems come from outside agriculture. There are problems of drinking water, there are problems of various kinds of aflatoxins which come in the food due to bad storage and so on. So nutrition literacy means not only from agriculture alone, but what kind of precautions you should take in ensuring that whatever you eat is nutritious.
So the next question is from Salva. What is the scope of carbon capture and storage in dealing with climate change?
Because you accept climate change is due to carbon imbalance between carbon emission and carbon absorption. There is an imbalance between carbon emission and carbon absorption. So now, if carbon capture can be done, then if you produce the balance between absorption and emission, that will be good. And most of the technologies now coming up are towards carbon capture as a contribution. But on the other hand, as you can see, those who are in the climate field, they will also show carbon has many advantages. That's also needed for agriculture. So you'll have to make a balance.
So the next question is from Suganya. What are the key skills required for the youth to engage in agriculture? Will it be better option for them?
If you ask me the key skills, one is to not to be afraid of long walks. Go to the field, and going to the field. And if you're all the time doing your research or everything in the room, you will not know. So the skill required is an interest in nature, harmony with nature, going outside, and will it be a better option for them? Agriculture is a good occupation. It's a healthy occupation. I myself shifted from medical side to the agriculture side, and I'm very happy about it. Therefore, it was by choice, not by chance it happened. Therefore, it depends upon whatever they take. It is important to master the subject. You may be a musician, you may be a physicist. What is important is the excellence and social relevance of what you are doing. I would add social relevance in countries like ours. It may not be necessary in Dr. Kenneth, ambassador, but they are also necessary, I think. You have to understand the importance of it.
Thank you, Professor, for that enlightening feedback to the students and young entrepreneurs. Certainly, youth will have many more questions, and we assure that the remaining questions also will be, answered by Professor, and we will be posting in our website. And every year we used to have this a program called Attracting and Retaining Youth in Agriculture. It's called Ariya, and probably we may have a program now, Attracting and Retaining Youth in Sustainable Development. So now we have Dr. Parasuraman, is the coordinator of youth program, give a few remarks.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for this great opportunity. Today, we are particularly all you who are all here, the young people, great opportunity. Wherever I'll go, along with Professor. Professor is an icon globally, because every youth comes surrounding. One example, Kenneth Quinn know about it. And go to US, the World Food Prize Summit, or wherever, including airport. Everybody will come, sir, I am your fan. This is I learned last 30 years. You just think about Professor Swaminathan. Overall, there's a guru of agriculture. The great opportunity for you this 30th year, foundation doing a youth program more than 2 decades. But today is a very important, you have a direct interaction, whatever you have your mind, the question directly asking. This is a very, very golden period for you. This message, what Prof just now told about, is selected for not only for medicine, entire family, medicine family, but Professor Swaminathan elected for IPS officer in the Indian government. But you don't want that service, you want to become agriculturist. So many people don't know. Go and see the Professor Swaminathan biography available, more than 8 or 6 volumes. Fortunate, I am working with very closely the God-given opportunity, but this legacy take forward next level, who will do it? Big Professor always dreaming, young people like you and me to take forward the field level. Everybody become agricultural scientist and go to the field. Professor always said, lab to land program. Today you see Professor yesterday celebrating 94th birthday, but he started the career 1947, about India and independence. That's why today we are all eating 3 meals a day. Without Green Revolution, definitely nobody will eat today. The Bengal famine, just to go here, because every conference all over the world, agriculture conference, peace or anything, without agriculture, without India, nobody is talking in the world. So far I've been and meeting people everywhere. This is a very icon celebrated. We want to do how to save farming, save farmer. This is a coin Professor Swaminathan bring, National Farming, Chairman of the National Farmers Commission. This word, very important, not only for the book, the report is available in the government, but the people like you and me take forward next level. This golden opportunity, so many opportunities available globally, but use M.S. Swaminathan Foundation, one of the platform, our executive director, all the young research directors are there. You please come forward, ask any much question, not only for 10 questions, don't mistake, there is a time limit only for 1 hour. Professor also, next section to go. You are available, foundation is available, we given a platform, please most welcome. We will work together jointly, develop our nation, what Professor Swaminathan and Dr. Borlaug did. You know what is the age of Dr. Swaminathan and Borlaug did the Green Revolution within a 4 years period, jumping 4% to 17%, increase the yield. Who will do it? Think about your age and my age. Professor Swaminathan age is that time. He is born in 1925. He is declared Green Revolution 1968. then I turned that time. Think about it. Last 50 years, more than 60 years of biodiversity. Go on, tell about Prof Swaminathan, but we want to take as a legacy, national and international level. India's footprint, very important. Next, youth will be staying, because Indian youth, more than population, more than 74%, 2030, going to beat China very soon in the population. But one side you are climbing unemployed. Only one, save your employment, agriculture. You are the business model, you are the owner, you are the boss, you are the scientist, everything, only agriculture, nothing else. And today, our foundation, there is a program called SBI Youth Fellows, who are all working IT companies. Come forward, sir. Why not giving opportunity? We want to work in the rural area, we want to work for agriculture. Because of Dr. Swaminathan legacy, we want to take forward. This great opportunity, thanks to our Executive Director and Jegan and our Organizing Secretary, Mr. Dr. Oliver King. We are all go together, take Dr. Swaminathan, Dr. Borlaug, what did. We will definitely take positive confident. No, don't think agriculture negative confident. I don't want to go for agriculture, the parents are telling. Please take Dr. Swaminathan legacy, chance, not by choice. Sorry, not a chance, choice. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Raman. Now I call upon Dr. Bian Lee, who is the founder of Hungry Lab, the Hungry Lab. And she is now connecting dots. When I interacted this morning, she was saying convergence is a great issue to achieve the sustainable development. So now I call upon Dr. Bian Lee to have a few words.
Thank you so much, Oliver. It's such an honor to be here today. My story with Professor Swaminathan is very personal as well. 20 years ago, when we're talking about attracting and retaining youth in agriculture, 20 years ago, I was a young intern at the World Food Prize, the Global Youth Institute. I was a student, and I was asked to write a paper on the logistics of food security. And I had to present it to be adjudicated at the Global Youth Institute in Des Moines, Iowa. And Ambassador Kenneth Quinn was the president then, and we met then. And the two people who adjudicated my paper, was Professor Swaminathan and Dr. Norman Borlaug. And that set me on a trajectory, and using the principles of regenerative ecology to create a regenerative economy, an inclusive economy for all. That's the mission of the Hungry Lab. And without my start and the inspiration that Professor Swaminathan provided, that was the catalyst for all of that work. So when we're talking about attracting and retaining youth, Dr. Kumar said in the beginning, how do we harness the strength of youth of India? India is a very young country, right? And when I've been asked to give a succinct summary of all of the questions asked and draw some points, the question of how do we harness youth comes to several key points. First, the questions were asked about technology, right? There's so many technological advances related to agriculture and related to the ancillary fields around agriculture. And now we're seeing a lot of engineering colleges participate with and create agricultural solutions, whether it's precision software, whether it's drones. And I want to make a comment that technology is not a panacea. And when you have a lot of young people really interested in bridging the divide between technology and agriculture, we want to say that technology without humanity does not make the full impact that we want. And so with the professor's theme of pro-women, pro-nature, and now we say pro-youth, right? That is what's critical, is when we can harness the power of youth and the innovations in technology with humanity. That's what's going to take us forward in terms of solving the Sustainable Development Goals. Professor Swaminathan mentioned we need proper inputs to get proper outputs. From an ecological perspective, this makes sense. From an economic perspective, this also makes sense. When we're talking about harnessing the youth, how can we actually leverage better inputs for more productivity for human capital, better outputs, whether it's the mentorship needed to guide youth, whether it's the investment that's needed to fund startup projects related to agriculture, whether it's the entire ecosystem that's needed from production all the way to consumption. How do we harness that to create better inputs for better outputs on an economic scale? It takes an entire village to raise a child, and it takes a whole village to grow an idea from seed to sustainability. In December, I had the honor of working with Dr. Raman in creating a multi-stakeholder task force here in Chennai, combined called Seed to Sustainability. And it was comprised of NGOs, academics, venture capitalists, investors, entrepreneurs, as well as Dr. Raman, and who were talking about how do we guide the youth and how do we create this holistic ecosystem. And that's so important as we work across India, because there's so much talent and there's so much hunger, and everywhere I go across India, we hear the same thing, that the youth want opportunity, and that to change the traditional concept of agriculture being backbreaking labor, being something that's not attractive for youth, we're seeing a shift, and that shift requires a combination of the whole village. And Professor Swaminathan mentioned that family is an enterprise. Farming is an enterprise. And farming especially requires such nurturing on the ground, right? We need to focus on the soil. And if you think about soil from an education perspective, how do we actually create and generate better nutritious soil for our youth in terms of our education and the incubating environment for projects to succeed? Ecological sustainability, economic sustainability, and social sustainability. Planet, profit, and people. We hear that, the triple bottom line. Now I'd like to add, in terms of attracting and truly retaining youth in agriculture, we need to add a few more P's. We need to ignite the purpose of all young social change makers, create a pathway and to allow them to succeed, and this is where the ecosystem is so important, as well as a pipeline for future growth and to truly future-proof them. And so when the question was asked, are the youth ready to take this challenge on? I am so heartened when I travel across India and the work that we're doing to see that there's so much potential. And that's what's really exciting. And just like me, the story is very personal about the inspiration to affect social change beyond agriculture. Agriculture is the primary industry and affects everything else. I'd like to end with a call to action. Last time I was here in May, Professor Swaminathan and I sat down in a conversation, and we talked about his vision for the youth. And we talked about the idea of, wouldn't it be amazing for his 100th birthday to call upon 100 young people with 100 solutions to 100 wicked problems of India? And that is what I'd like to challenge you with. How can we take your idea from seed to sustainability? How can you work across silos and nurture that ecosystem in order to affect real change? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bian, for that remarks. Now we will have a photo session with Professor. I'm requesting the students to come over to the stage. I'm also requesting three dignitaries here, Dr. Ambassador Kenneth Quinn and Dr. Peter Gadbury and Dr. K.V. Prabhu, to join for the photo here. Students, please come on the stage.
Here, and for young men, our gender is under attack. You gotta rally all the young men and get them involved. Yeah.
Yes. Professor, faculties. Yes. Faculty members. No, Kumar sir. They will take care of it.